Hi everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the Brooklands Museum. We are here today for the HubNut Social. So, as you can see, plenty of cars have turned up here, all various shapes, sizes, brands, whatever. I think there's only one thing for it. Let's go and check them out. We start off our HubNut Social walk around with this lovely 1979 Ford Escort 1.6 Gear. Love the way that Gear is written, the font of it. This is a rather nice example, of course, a Mark II. Vinyl roof.
30 grand, so stupid.
Gorgeous interior. Chrome door handles. Love the lines on this thing. Little aerial in the front wing. It's very nice, and of course spot lamps for the win. Volvo 940 next to it. I remember when these things used to be everywhere. This will certainly fly the flag for them here today. I remember rightly, this may have had little windscreen washers on it and wipers and things like that. It's quite a common thing on Volvos of this period. Leather interior. Don't know how well you can see that, reflection is quite strong. Masses of boot space in there, huge. This Volvo even has an unusual shaped tow bar, especially for the UK. Usually it's all attached as one piece, but not on this one. You got literally the bar there, and that bolts in from underneath. Something different. I remember right, some of these models had seats that fold out the boot, so you could have people sit in there as well for a bit more practicality. Might be wrong on that, might be a slightly different model than this, but either way, it was something that I remember quite vaguely from younger years. Next to the 940, Alfa Romeo 166. It's a V6, 3 litre as well. Oh, those seats with Alfa Romeo written in them. Very nice. Liking the wheels as well. The little caps. Very neat, very tidy. Next to the Alfa Romeo, Ford Focus EcoBoost. Of course, a fairly modern car by HubNut standards, but nonetheless, everyone was welcome to come down to this show today, this meet, regardless of what they drive, classic, modern, tatty, brand spanking new, whatever it is, you're welcome to join in. Of course, a Rover 45 will be familiar to many of the channel. This is of course Joseph Lloyd of Lloyd Vehicle Consulting's Rover 45 V6. I remember putting that badge on back at the BMC and Leyland show / Mini and Metro show 2020, because of course they combine those two events. It's nice to see it is still hanging on for dear life. Love the wheels on it. Just generally I love this car. Maybe one day when I'm 25 I might give this a spin. Maybe slightly earlier, we'll see. There is Joseph himself talking through people through his car. Renault Espace. Forget just how deep the engine bay is on these things, but of course it makes sense because it's all really quite a short front when you think compared to the cabin. Of course the Espace, first of the MPVs really, came in before things like the Ford B-Max / C-Max, the Vauxhall Zafira, that kind of thing. Of course, yellow fog lights for the win. Classic French thing. Awesome little car. Oh, little, it's huge. Jaguar S-Type. Of course, still a fairly modern car when you think about the styling of it. Obviously inspired massively by the Mark II Jag. Lovely colour. Lovely interior as well, actually. Just have a quick look. Lovely interior. Just me speaking with the owner of this S-Type. It's an SE model. This car's done somewhere in the region of 50,000 miles, maybe slightly just over. In America, these are branded as VDP, which is Vanden Plas, which is quite a familiar brand to people in the UK. It's usually the posher versions of Austin / Morris cars at the time. Mainly Austin because of the time it was used here, but anyway, getting off topic. Vanden Plas was a name that Ford, who of course owned Jaguar at the time this car was built, Vanden Plas was not a name that Ford had the rights to use. So when these cars were sold in the UK, they were not sold as Vanden Plas, they were sold as SE models. And in America they were branded as Vanden Plas. So there we go, a little bit of history. This car's literally got everything though, piping on the seats, blind in the rear as well. Just literally everything you could want, even the walnut dashboard. It is gorgeous, I love this car. Moving on to this Audi A6 Estate, is a Quattro. Got little washer jets there that blast onto the headlights, keeping them nice and clean. Quite a highly spec'd car. These are cool. Tow bar for extra practicality as well. Renault Clio Campus, one of the later versions of the Mark II Clio, especially of the facelifted version of it. I always think these are very nice little cars. Thought about getting one as a first car before I ended up with the Megane. There's quite a few cars I had on my short list at the time when I was buying cars, or not buying, but looking at cars as a first car. Something slightly up on the scale compared to the Clio. Ferrari 430 Scuderia. This one's owned by JM on Cars. Lovely interior. Not even a radio in this one, but it does have electric windows. Carbon fibre centre console. Auto gearbox, flappy paddles. Everything. Fire extinguisher down there. Powerful engine, of course. You can see people are allowed to sit in the car as well. Love the stripes on it though. Ford Sierra. I'm more familiar with the Cosworth version of these, it has to be said. Definitely seen a lot more of those around than these ones. This car is particular, well, this car in particular is for sale. This could be yours. 35,000 miles, so quite low mileage on this one. Trade plates on the back. Tow bar. It's a very nice little car actually. Mouth going dry. Very cool. Range Rover next to... we move on to the Range Rover. Notice the rear wiper on the back. Tow bar down there with adjustable heights depending on what you're towing and things like that. Probably for my trailer that would be the position it would be in. Bit of lacquer peel on the bonnet. In fact, it's a different colour bonnet from the rest of the car, so I imagine the original's rusted and they've replaced it and just not gone around to spraying it yet, if that is even in the plan. But there's the mighty 3.9 litre V8 engine. Takes up a lot of space in here, doesn't it? Massive battery just located down here in the corner. Radiator, fan, everything you can need. Rover 75 V6 24 valve quad cam. Sadly hidden by a lot of plastic in here. Gas struts though for the bonnet. Quite a luxurious interior. W reg as well, so early 2000s. Rover 3500S V8. Vinyl roof, lovely colour. Looks amazing. Loving those little indicator and wiper stalks and things like that. Maybe not even wiper stalks, I'm not sure. One's a horn either way. Lights possibly, I'm not sure. Actual wing mirrors. Washer jets.
All the people who came in this Rover and that Rover there and the Range Rover, and the Range Rover belongs to my parents, and that's his friend.
Notice how the badge's got a little bit of wear and tear around it, but never mind. Again, this is a HubNut meet, so anything is welcome. Something a bit special next to it though, a Vanden Plas Allegro. Love how that's the right way up. wing aerial. Of course, luxurious versions of the Austin Allegro. So they got wooden dashboard, more luxurious seats, luxurious carpets, things like that. Very nice place to be. I even like the tiny clock in the dashboard as well. And the radio located under there as well. Door handles. 1500cc. So 1.5 litre engine. Vandenpla or Plas, depending how you say it. Everyone's got a different way of saying it. But of course the most distinct feature of this car will be the front grille, giving that sort of mini Rolls-Royce-y kind of look. A work of art next to it, that engine bay. Very shiny, liking this. Alfa Romeo 164, been to the British Motor Museum, Alfa Romeo Club, retro rides as well. May well have seen that at the weekend earlier this year. Q2. It's either been to Circuit Zandvoort or they're just a massive fan of the track. Loving the spoiler on it and the exhausts, twin tip. In fact, it looks like actually on this side you might be able to have a couple more. That or it's a towing point for the rear. I'm not sure. An Italian registered Suzuki Samurai. I remember seeing James May drive one of these on Top Gear in Bolivia when they went on their Bolivian adventure. You forget just how small these things are. It says here on the side SJ410JL model. External door hinges, which I suppose makes it incredibly easy to change them over or swap mounts depending on rust or damage from off-roading. No spare wheel on this at the minute, but notice though, despite being Italian registered, it's right-hand drive, so maybe the owner of this has moved over to Italy and come back for this event. Moving on from the little tiny off-roading Suzuki, we move to the BMW i3. Now we've had a look at these quite briefly at Bewley for their Simply Electric show, but here provides an opportunity to have a slightly closer look at one. I like the way the lights are integrated into the back, that's quite cool. Blue surrounding the badge, obviously blue being the colour to signify eco and electric and things like that. I like the way the styling sort of curves around, goes along, down, back up. It's a nice little styling tweak. The different coloured bonnets to the rest of the car. It's all very neat, it all brings it all together, but it is something different. It signifies that it's something different. Of course, there's a lot of electric cars which are literally just the same as their petrol counterparts, but they've got an electric motor in them. The i3 was developed to be an electric car, fully, no petrol or diesel versions of it. Fun fact about these actually, the Mini E uses a lot of the technology that's in this.
They did it in gloss.
And of course it keeps that iconic BMW grille, even though it doesn't actually do anything particularly, it's just a styling tweak. Next to the i3 though, been attracting a lot of attention, this Trebant 601S. And of course here in Europe, every country pretty much had a car of the people. Britain had the Mini, France had the 2CV and the Renault 4, Italy had the 500, Western Germany had the Beetle, and Eastern Germany had the Trebant. And of course the thing is with the Trebant, the bodywork is made of a sort of plasticky type compound. In fact actually it's got cotton in it. The Russians, who of course ran Eastern Germany at the time, they were rather secretive over the cotton element of this. It was something they didn't want getting out and into the knowledge of other car makers, basically. The thing with the Trebant is the metal bits on it rusted, such as chassis and subframes and things like that, and metal components. but the bodies on them never rusted because, of course, ultimately a plastic. So once the usable bits on it had all rusted away, the metal bits that were kind of vital to the way around, once they'd all rusted away, that was it. The plastic bodies would remain. Of course, that little bit of rust there kind of related to the hinge. Have a look. This one is in fact a 2-stroke motor. It has been started up today, so much ringy-dingy goodness. Also, fuel tank just in there. Interesting place just above the engine, but it's a place nonetheless. Of course, latterly these had the Volkswagen Polo engine in 4-cylinder, 4-stroke, which was a lot more powerful than this engine was. Gorgeous little MGB with a Rover engine under the bonnet as well. Lovely big radiator. By the way, it says Rover on there. Have a look at the interior. Same switch panel switches as my Mini. Got chokes down there, indicators. Everything you could possibly want. Love the gear stick. Fuel filler cap just there on the back. Very nice. I do like this little MGB actually, it looks really sweet. Even the little clock down there as well. Very nice. Toyota Camry next to it. Can't remember if these were actually sold in the UK and whether this one is an import or whether they were sold in the UK but they weren't massively popular. But either way, here is one. Looks very nice, manual gearbox. Even got a little, is that a sunglasses holder or cup holder? It's one or the other. Mentioned Toyota, of course. Very popular engines. Now this is interesting and brings back many happy memories as we quite recently had a look at a 205 Mardi Gras 1.1 petrol. This is not a 1.1 nor is it a petrol, as it is the 1.8 litre diesel, XUD powered of course. Has a massively distinctive clatter, not that you can hear it right now as the car is turned off, but a massive clatter nonetheless. These things are an absolute hoot to drive with so little weight behind them, and those seats, just look at those seats, they are the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in a car. This one has a Pac-Man-esque style to it as well. A car that will please Miss HubNut endlessly, I'm quite sure. Daihatsu Charade. Little 3-cylinder Japanese K car or key car. Tiny exhaust on it. Look at that. Little towing point. Learner driver drove this here today. White wheel trims, obviously not standard. HubNut sticker because of course. Very nice little example of one actually. Love how tiny these things are. Of course, key cars built for a Japanese specification. I think they had to be something like under 600cc and within certain dimensions, obviously length and width. But I will say things like this are usually very cleverly packaged. Next to the Charade, not sure if this is actually in the show particularly or at the social, whether it is a working taxi, but it's brought someone here who wanted to come and see the HubNut Social. Next to that, Skoda Roomster. Of course, a car that Jeremy Clarkson loves. You've got a good little design to them actually. It's something different. It's almost like it's made up of two different cars basically when you look at the way the windows sort of mould and go around. It's an unusual styling cue, but very niche, very cool. Renault Twingo Gt, got a little 1.2 litre turbo engine in these things. It's actually fairly similar in performance to my Panda 100 HP. In fact, actually, along with the Clio, I had a look at the GT as a first car because obviously 1.2 litre, small, should have been good on the insurance, but as we know the story goes, I ended up with my dad's Renault Megane Saloon. Either way, this was a massive consideration for a first car for me, and I think one would have done well had I gone down that route. Volvo V70 next to it, T5, prancing moose. Very cool little car, very clean as well, no rust on the arches just down there. Love the wheels, love the interior. Manual gearbox as well. You forget how long the bonnet is on a Volvo until you walk past one. Citroen Xantia, diesel powered this one. Looks quite low, but I imagine that's because it's got the pneumatic suspension, or hydro pneumatic, whatever the word is for it. So of course when you start it up, it'll raise up and waft away in typical French comfort. Rear wiper, roof. How have they managed to get scratches on the roof?
Absolutely. And that's
interesting. Yes, the Xantia was, well, is yet another one of those cars which you remember seeing everywhere and now few and far between.
All they were sold, which was wrong, I think, but this one was just details not there.
Audi Cabriolet. This one's mid-90s. I like the full width sort of light continuing. I know it isn't a full width light, but that kind of style tweak. Massive exhaust, 2 litre power. MGF next to it. Pioneer radio. I like the way it's got MG embedded in the dashboard. I do like these little things actually. I would quite like to drive a NF or a TF at some point. Hopefully the opportunity to drive one comes up fairly soon. Yes, of course, these were the MG sports cars of the 90s. MG by that point were mainly producing fast hatchbacks and I think saloons as well for basically Rover built cars, whereas this one, not quite. Of course, the testbed of this was the Austin Metro of all things, but it was a customised Metro. It was one with the back end cut off, basically, or flipped up, so they had all this, but it was hidden up by a Metro body, so no other car company could tell they were developing a new little roadster. Very cool. Citroen C15, little van. These things are cool. Loving the lights on it. Liking the stickers actually. I don't think these lights would have come with those stickers on, but either way, very cool. Liking the interior. If I remember rightly, this thing was based on the AX, I want to say. I could be wrong on that. We move on from the 2004 Citroen C15 to this Lexus GS300. Of course, Lexus being the more upmarket brand of Toyota, so they share quite similar sort of styling cues. Lexus twin cam 24 valve engine. Bit of lack appeal going on the door mirror. Lovely interior though. Nice wheels as well. And a bit of lack appeal on here. But I love the rear styling on this car. Toyota RAV4 next to the Lexus. Of course, Toyota's off-roading car. Again, another car which used to be everywhere but now few and far between. Just look at those seats. Actually had quite a lot of space in the back. I remember with these things they used to offer them in 5-door and 3-door variations, so of course they just removed this and the body is a little bit shorter with the 3-door, but I think the 3-door was the most common actually. That looks somewhat familiar. No, more on that later on. Toyota Aventis, this is an 03 version. I've been in an earlier version of this car, the model before this. A bit of yeah, a bit of condensation on those lights, maybe need a bit of a buff up, but there we go. Overall in fairly good condition. When I say Toyota cars, usually endlessly reliable. Something that's slightly different though from this. Mazda Rx-7. This one's been tuned up quite heavily. Perhaps we'll find out who it's tuned up by later on. TWR, by the looks of it. Of course got the rotary engine, or the Wankel engine. I do like the styling of these Mazda Rx-7s. A few little dents here and there, but never mind that. And again, just one look. That's a huge fan on the front for an engine that looks tiny. Rover 25, this model looks exceptionally clean. This has been kept well. I really like this. I'd happily drive one of these every day. Pop out rear windows as well. It's even got an old Nokia in the dashboard, signifying the time. Of course, with that typical Rover face. Very cool. Mazda MX-5. An 07 reg. Very different from the MGF it once rivaled with previous versions of this. I mentioned the MGF because it's only just down there. Not that we can see it at the minute. Very cool. These cars are incredibly popular to buy, especially if you want a roadster these days, because not many companies offer a 2-seater open-top car. Another Ford Focus, this time orange, 2012. An Econetic engine. Citroen Diane. A Brooklands member, so clearly a frequent visitor to the museum here. Of course, Diane based heavily on the 2CV, just with a different front, and I imagine different interiors and things like that. I do like the faces on these. We have an old Riley here. Not quite sure of the model. Can't seem to find out the model particularly. Either way, very cool. I like all the little push buttons down there for certain functions. I like the interior. I like the little wooden storage at the back here. That's really cool. I like the drop top. Little steps there. I imagine that means there's probably seating in the back. Tiny fuel cap with the Riley logo on it. That's really cool. And the lights. Opel Monza GSE. Little wipers on the front. That will please Mr. HubNut endlessly, I'm quite sure. The interior on this, again, not sure how well that shows up on camera due to the light. A very nice little car. I like the rear spoiler on it. It's sort of ducktail shaped. Opel Monza. I really like this one. We've got another Lexus next to this, an LS480 this time. This one's got a rear blind for the window. The interior though, all the functions in the back. little bit of a limousine, this one. It's quite cool. In fact, those in the back look like options for the seats and the radio, in fact. Or at least temperature. That's very cool. The front end looks huge though. Land Rover Freelander with an interesting graphic down the side. Wood style, of course. It's got a sports system in it, apparently. That or it's just a graphic. I think it's more likely to be the latter. It's even got an American plate on the back, obviously still GB style plate on the back as well, but there we go. Bit of overlap on the graphics there. It's something different. But here is something even more different and not at all common. A Renault Aventine. These were rare when new and they're even rarer now. Basically it was kind of a concept car by Renault which actually entered production, which is really quite cool. I love the way how this rear light sort of crosses itself up here. That's cool. Obviously it's got the big booty of the time, especially common with the Megane hatchback, Mark II that is. Little fins on there. The way how these windows go all the way down and just opens it all up and makes it almost like it's an open top, especially with the roof that opens up with the sunroof at least. Lovely interior, plenty of space, 5 seats. It's a really cool looking car actually. Love the vents there. It's just a good looking car. Renault did really well with this one. What makes it different as well is the fact that it's 3-door, not 5-door. It would have been so easy to make it a 5-door, but Renault went, you know what, no, we're going to do something different. 3-door. Props to them, they did a really good job on that. Been given permission to open it up. The doors weigh 50 kilograms. They don't open massively wide, it would seem, or do they? Oh no, they just keep going. But look, double hinge. That's really cool. So we have the camera just in here. Close. That's awesome. I actually really like this car. In fact, I'll go one step above it. I love it. Another Focus, this one carrying a roof box. HubNut sticker in the back. From Sky Ford, Honda Jazz with white alloy wheels. Beaded seats. The problem with the Jazz was it's a massively practical car, but they're not massively powerful, which unfortunately is a bit of a downfall with them, hence why they usually seen driving delicately, shall we say. Porsche 911, those iconic lights. This one's for sale, £43,500. As always with these things, this could be yours. 996 generation turbo manual, 2001. Range Rover P38, I think. Wipers on the headlights. P38, yes, 1999, 2.5 litre, 136 horsepower, 14.3 seconds to 60, 26 miles per gallon. Crikey. Someone I knew used to own one of these, and I think his was the more powerful V8. There was a reason why he sold it. It drunk through fuel like there was no tomorrow. Not necessarily part of the HubNut meet, but something I think we should mention, this little Bedford van, British Overseas Airways Corporation. Like a classic Bedford van. Toyota Previa. I think this was at the Lloyd Vehicle Consulting Social not long ago, back at the end of July. If it's not, it's very similar to the one that was there. but I think it is. I think it is the same one. Didn't actually get much of a chance to have a look at the Lloyd Vehicle Consulting Social show cars, as such, especially not on camera. Too many things to film and do that day, such as with Mark on motoring and having a look at David's Immaculate 205 Mardi Gras, which again we've already linked to that video in this video already. Aston Martin Db9 brought along. Certainly a very pretty Aston Martin car. I remember at the time when this was launched, all of the motoring journalists were looking at going, oh, it's gorgeous, it's absolutely brilliant. What a brilliant piece of design by Aston Martin. And it still stands up even today. It doesn't look outdated at all. If this were to come off the production line tomorrow, brand new, never seen before, it wouldn't make a single bit of difference. It's aged perfectly. BMW, I think this is a M5, I want to say. It's got an M badge on it. Hybrid. 530 is, doesn't it? So maybe not an M5, maybe just with M badges, I'm not sure. Either way, massive nostrils.
That one in the end? Yeah. That's Aston Martin, isn't it?
Cool little car. Notice the charging flap just there. A little airport tug as well. Again, not necessarily part of the HubNut Social, but something of interest here at least. This is not an AC Cobra. This is a replica of one. I think this is made by a company called DBZ. Either way, it's a very close replica of one. Looks cool. Love the polished look on it. The interior though, that's gorgeous. The thing is with replicas, they are a way of getting your dream car. Doesn't matter if it is genuine or not particularly, because it doesn't exactly devalue the actual cars that much, because of course they've still got their production numbers and things and can say, yes, I'm a genuine. In fact, it might make them worth even more. If we just have a look here, look at that door hinge or latch. Perfect. BMW 3 Series next to that. A little bit of damage just down there, but never mind. Thing is, everyone is here because everyone is a fan of HubNut. Doesn't matter what you drive. Everyone is welcome and accepted. 2011 Fiat 500. This is the twin air version. A little tricolore stripe down the side. Do like the 500 actually. Bit of fade on the front badge. That shouldn't be too difficult to replace. I imagine it just bolts on from the other side if it's anything like my Panda. Big old Seat. Tarraco. I would never have guessed that standing in front of it. Yeah, another big SUV. Mercedes E270. This is a diesel version. Looks good. Looks in good order. They could do with a bit of polish up, but again, never mind. 54 reg. I do like the way the Mercedes badge sticks up out of the bonnet actually. Move on to this Reliant Kitten, not a Roman because it's got 4 wheels. This is gorgeous. Orange as always, best colour for a car. Little steering wheel. Tiny engine, I imagine maybe 850cc, maybe even less than that. Not quite sure. Cool little car. A car you've seen on the channel many times before. Pogo, my Panda 100 HP. Repping the fleet today. Reggie the Red Panda in the dashboard with a bit of information on the car and the channel, because why not? Shameless plugs and all that. May as well. It's a Golf R line. This is a diesel next to me as well. Fold-in mirrors. Excellent. We'll come back over here because something else has turned up whilst we were down there. A Honda Accord J-Reg, so a little bit younger than my Mini. Would have had the jets to clean the lights, I would imagine. Lovely interior. Steering wheel. Huge boot as well, and little net for luggage and probably pets as well. 2.2 litre. This is the Accord Aero Deck, and they've been to retro rides. We move on to this rather lovely Citroen 2CV Charleston. Love the multi-tone colours of this. Yellow and black, little hints of grey. Very basic interior. I like the pop-out window as well. Well, it's not really pop-out, is it? It's sort of pop and lift up, but either way, I do really like these cars. And the way that you can take the seats out and basically have a picnic with them, saves having to take deck chairs with you everywhere. Doesn't seem to be a huge amount of leg room in the back, but I like the way how the seats sort of curve round. Gives a bit more extra space that way. Clever thinking. Fiat Stilo Michael Schumacher edition. And of course, Fiat released a lot of Michael Schumacher branded cars around the early 2000s, because of course his connection with Ferrari, which is a company that's owned by Fiat. This is a 55 Reg. A little bit of an accident. Yeah, this is a very, very neat looking little car. Very tidy, very clean. Can't see in the back too well, but never mind. Modified wheels, split rims, everything. Austin Princess with a tow bar, 1700 HL. Plenty of characters in the back, Garfield being one. Even some in the back here as well. Like the wheel cover. Cool looking car. The thing is with the Princess, it used to have quite a common problem in which the gas from the suspension would come out at one side and it would sort of lean to one side. Still, there we go. Very pretty looking cars. Honda Accord. 3 litre VTEC Yo. Sounds wrong coming out of my mouth, doesn't it? Love the interior. Clearly had a lot of time and care put into this one. Love that steering wheel cover. 3 litre V6. Metro 1.3L. This is an Austin Metro. Got all the information in the back of this car. Purchased in March 2021, taken to several car shows already up and down the country and the London to Brighton Classic Car Run. So this car's clearly had a busy life in the relatively short time that the owner has, well, owned it. Similar steering wheel to my Mini, well, at least the original wheel anyway. Very clean and tidy car, this one actually. Looks very nice. AA relay as well. Citroen C4 Coupe. These things are really cool. Obviously, styled. No. Citroen C4 Coupe. I really like the styling of this. It's quite different from its hatchback cousin. Sibling? No. Citroen C4 Coupe. Really like the styling of these. I love the way how it sort of slides down the roof and then jags back in before coming back out in a smooth curve. That's really neat and cool. Tiny windscreen wiper though, especially on the rear window anyway. Do like these and like the wheels, but the one thing that's really cool about these, which everybody goes on about, is the way how the steering wheel turns, but the bit in the middle, that stays exactly where it is. Somebody I know used to have one of these before I had to go to the scrapyard in the Sky. due to some massive failure. I can't remember exactly what off the top of my head right here, right now. Either way, that was a really cool feature on it. And it's something that we all used to get very excited about.
But yeah, the C6 is monitored.
A very rare car here. 1985 Fiat Panda 45S VIP. This one is owned by the father of Driven 24/7 YouTube channel. Have a quick look around here. I love these classic Pandas. Love the interior, love how basic it is. Very utilitarian. I love even the way that the door handle pull to open the doors is included in that little area. It's very simple and very neat. There we go. Usually that Driven 24/7. Pop out rear windows. Does the seat move forwards and backwards actually? I'm not quite sure. Because that suggests it does. Little spoiler on the back. Very cool. I love the boxy utilitarian styling of the classic Pandas actually. One of my favourite designs of all time. I really like the spots in the front here as well. Something a bit more HubNut. Reliant Fox. This one's being brought on a trailer behind a Citroen BX. Rather appropriate, I think. Shows the bare bones of it. If you want to find out more about the Reliant Fox, obviously check out the HubNut channel. He's got plenty of videos on these already. Same with the Citroen BX. Love the way how the suspension raises and lowers itself when it stops. Perfect.
And then there was one point there that
of course, a pretty well-known car in the YouTube community, Betty the Ford Fairmont. Been on large adventures already around New Zealand. And imported to the UK by HubNut himself and brought down to this show here today. Very cool. Rover 100 next to it. Love the interior. Love the seats actually, they look really cool. I actually like the rear window surround. That's cool. Union Jack. Awesome little thing. Citroen GS. Bezelte it says, I think. Rear window louvers. It's very neat and cool. Chrysler 300C. Big American thing brought to here. Very posh and luxurious though. Massive wheels. But look at the engine, that is huge. Alfa Romeo 159, massive Brembo brakes. Gorgeous interior, always is on an Alfa Romeo. Look at that. I like how the dashboard faces towards you, it's not just flat. Very cool. Hyundai Sonata. Another vehicle I believe went to the Lloyd Vehicle Consulting Social back in July. Another unusual car, not one you see that many of. And finally, we finish with this lovely little Land Rover. May turn into a robot at any time. Same indicator lens as my Mini. 3 seats. Very basic in there. Love all that usable space. I do love pickups.
Oh, was he?
And that sort of brings an end to our HubNut Social show walkaround. There's been a good variety of cars here, and the thing is, I don't think I've seen any one car that has been identical to another, which is fantastic at a show like this. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this particular video. Let me know down below in the comments which was your favourite car here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. There's going to be plenty more videos on cars coming up very soon. So until then, for now, I shall say thank you very much for watching and see you again soon. Farewell.